Just looking at all the birds foraging around in the forest, looking after themselves and their own, and thinking how intrinsically egotistical the human animal is, how we appear to be doomed to be self-centered and self-obsessed, to the extent that even our altruism is a manifestation of egocentrism. You know, you're nice to somebody because there's a chance that you'll get something in return. It might not be your conscious thought, you know, you might not necessarily be thinking that consciously, but in an evolutionary sense, that's it is a manifestation of our egocentric behaviour or nature. People are essentially egocentrical. Their lives revolve around them, us, all of us. Like the birds in the forest foraging, looking after themselves and their own interests. Humans do the same. As I said, even our sense of altruism is intrinsically egocentrical. Giving something in order to get something back. That might not be direct, there might not be that great expectation that I'll instantly get something, but at some point we're driven to do that, because at some point we might get something back. We're social animals, so we expect a return, the cost-reward ratio. And so humans tend to be egocentrical. It's all about me, it's all about my life. Even the belief that they have that, no, I'm really concerned about others, maybe, not necessarily is, but maybe a hidden version of the altruism thing. I'm concerned about others, and others, and interested in the lives of others, because that's the kind of person I want to be. It's more about me again. And, you know, you see this in people's behaviours. The motivations for them doing things, the motivations for them being nasty and the motivations for them being nice, might be the same motivation. It might still be just about egocentrism. It might just be about me again, as it so often is, because everything goes from this identity, goes out, and so it's tainted with this identity, of course. So, you know, some people are butterfly collectors. They collect friends like they would collect butterflies, have lots of contacts to people, you know, always sort of being in there, have loads of contact in order to get things back as well. They're also giving something useful through that, you know, of course, but they're getting things back. They're getting things back for themselves, and that outweighs the amount of effort you have to put in, because I'm getting so much back for me. So there's a sort of egocentrism in collecting people or collecting things, collecting experiences, the same. And it's why, you know, some people will expect automatically that you're going to make the journey halfway around the world to go and visit them, whereas they wouldn't make the journey 2 minutes around the corner to come and see you. And, you know, if you could ask them blatantly why that's the case, then their answer would be, well, because I'm worth it. You know, you are privileged to take part in my wonderful, spectacular life, and to be allowed into my fold, and, you know, take part in this splendour that is me. Yeah, but then you don't take the journey 2 minutes around the corner to come and see me. Well, no, because you're not worth it. Your life isn't as spectacular as mine. You are not as spectacular as I am. You're not worth the effort. And it seems, it's a self-explanatory thing. I don't. Again, a gradient. In some cases, it's right in your face. You're just literally not worth it, mate. And in some cases, it might be a sort of, they might not even think about it, and it's only when you present them with the facts. But look, this is how often I've come to see you and made the effort to come and see you, and this is how often you didn't come to see me. That they might sort of be a bit confused and think, oh God, really didn't think about that. But that innate selfishness is driving them to be like that. And, if confronted, then they will either plead ignorance, I didn't know, I was completely unaware, or it might just be, well, whatever, I don't care. If you have a problem with that, I don't care that you have a problem with that. We're a very egocentrical species. Each individual is wrapped up in themselves, and I'm not saying I'm any different. It's not an observation on people. And nowadays it's becoming a lot worse because we have these tools that allow us to present our lives and our fascinating, fantastic lives that are so spectacular to other people, and we expect their interest because, you are being invited into this wonderful world of me. I am me, king and emperor of the entire kingdom of I. Social media makes that possible to create this fabulous, phantasmagorical, confabulated world where people are invited in to partake in. I'm not saying it's entirely negative. There are plenty of insights into people that it gives that are really good, useful, and entertaining. But it's broadcast yourself, as the YouTube slogan used to be. And that's sort of what we do. We broadcast ourselves to the world and expect response. And the amount of response you expect, the gradient of being completely compassionate and not interested in yourself at all, would be one extreme end of the scale. And just being a total selfish arsehole would be the other extreme end of the scale. And we all fall in between that somewhere. You have expectations. Your expectations might be low of other people. They might be high. You might be aiming to get something back. You might be aiming to get nothing back at all. But there seems to be this underlying, intrinsic, innate sense of me-ness in all creatures, I'm sure. I'm sure other animals are pretty much the same. It's attached to the survival of me mode. My genes have to carry on, the selfish gene. And so it's understandable that we're like that. We're not different than any other creatures. Even trees will push their way through. They will support each other underneath the ground with their roots, but there's also at the same time competition. So it seems to be a balance that we have in the natural world, both a sense of altruism, helping, aiding others with no benefit to ourselves, bottom end of the scale, to competition, dog eat dog, battle your way through everybody else. And you can see that in patterns of behavior in human beings. You see it, and it's useful to do that. It's useful to observe, look at these things, and critique them in others, because they're reflections of yourself as well. It will also give you an insight how you maybe behave in many ways. Nobody's free of all of this. It just seems to be apparent to me in lots of people, especially in the cost-reward ratio of effort. How much effort am I willing to put into a friendship, physical effort, getting up and going to see somebody, or writing to them, or traveling to see them. How much effort am I prepared to put into that compared to what I'm hoping to get out of this? If there's no hope to get anything out of it, and it's just because you like that person, then the effort is irrelevant. Then you will make the effort. But if you're expecting something and the expectations aren't being fulfilled, then the effort won't be made. Why would you? And I'm sure that's a natural trait in all humans. I'm sure that's a natural trait of, or seems to be a sort of intrinsic quality of nature. It needs both extremes. It needs symbiosis and support. At the same time, it needs friction and confrontation in order to make something motivated to thrive. Maybe that's where it comes from, our evolutionary development.